welcome to the open day presentations for the graphic design illustration courses at the University of Hertfordshire. My name's Nick Lovegrove, I'm the programme leader. Obviously, instead of speaking to you in person, I'm speaking to you virtually. I'm sat at home here. If you hear any screaming in the background, it's my little boy running around. This 15-minute or so presentation should explain a little bit more about the structure of the course and give you a clearer idea of what we have to offer. So the course itself is driven by a clear philosophy, and this quote by Martin, who runs his own company in London, is a really good way of summarising it. So students on the graphics and illustration course at Hertfordshire are producing exactly the sorts of portfolios that employers want to see. And that drives everything that we do, really. The projects that we set, the people that we get to teach, it's all about getting our students to have amazing portfolios by the time they leave. So here's 3 reasons that we think that we do that really well and what makes us unique. So the first one, we think we've got a unique structure to the course. It's one course but 3 pathways within that course, all which have got a unique identity but all together under one kind of umbrella. So the first one is the graphic design course. The second one is the graphic design course but with a focus on advertising and branding, and the third one is illustration. So you can see in our this lovely diagram here that this is the graphic design course going across the top. The next line is the graphic design, advertising and branding pathway going across this part, and then at the bottom we've got an illustration. So 3 different courses, and let me go through this year by year. So in the first year, the grey boxes here are modules that are shared between all 3 different programs. So you can see that there's quite a bit of overlap between the 3 different pathways. The graphic designers then study together in the second half of first year, and as we go into second year, there's one shared module which all the pathways do, but there's a lot more specialism within once you've chosen your particular pathway. And then in the third year, again, there's modules that are shared, but also specialist modules, and there's chances for collaboration between the different pathways on every stage of the course, which is really, really lovely. So that's a kind of clear so hopefully that's a very, very brief rundown of the 3 pathways, and I'll explain more about them as we go through the presentation. So the second thing that makes us a really great option to choose is that we've got a really, really good history of winning the biggest and the best international student competitions. We've certainly, won over 100 in recent years. That's as good records of success of any course in the country like ours. And that's graphics and illustration and combinations of the 2, and D&AD awards, ISTD, YCN, lots of illustration competitions. And it's the big ones that students from all around the world are eligible to enter, getting thousands of entries. That's what we won last year. So another really successful year for last year's students. Amazing work, lots of which is available to see on the website. The third thing that makes our course great is that we've got really, really inspiring, committed, caring and enthusiastic staff who are absolutely at the height of what they do, so they're experts in their field, and we really pride ourselves on the variety and the kind of quality of people that we get in to teach on the course. Being so close to London helps us to get really, really knowledgeable, extremely well-known, talented people to come and teach, and they all care deeply about our students. We're not just doing this in a kind of way that you might suspect might happen at university. We all know our students individually, care about them and their progress, and treat everyone as an individual, but try and get a really good community together on the course as well. Just to go through a couple of people, we've got someone like Caroline, who's a freelance illustrator. She goes and does this beautiful kind of painted, hand-drawn work for lots of fashion brands. She's sent off to do on assignments off to draw fashion shows in Paris. Really, really at the top of her game. And then you've got people like Dan, who designs and prints his own posters. He is the go-to guy for doing this kind of work in this country and does really, really beautiful work, and an absolute expert at what he does. So the course in structure is 3 years in full-time mode. That's the kind of normal 3-year degree route, or you can choose to do the 4-year sandwich option. So there are 2 options in this in the sandwich here. The first one is a 1-year industry placement, and that is allows you to go and do a year working in industry and then come back and finish off doing a 3rd year afterwards. We've got really big companies tend to offer sandwich year placements. So this year we've got students off doing placements with companies like Urban Outfitters, Disney, Warner Brothers, River Island, but you can also go and work for smaller design studios if you want. It's a brilliant opportunity to go and improve your CV and work in a professional manner before you come back to do your 3rd year. The other option is going to do a year abroad, and lots of our students go and choose to study abroad for a year. The university's got connections all around the world. Most of our students tend to go and study design subjects in the US or Australia, and then you get to live there for a year and have an amazing experience. Either one of those options is a brilliant thing to do, and I encourage it completely. So the first year, in summary, is the first half of it is graphic designers and illustrators all mixed together. Everyone does the same projects, the same brief studies together. Everyone's mixed up. There's our current first years all mixed up, doing a quick project, a fun project in the first week. And the first half of first year is learning about how to break the rules, which you've spent ages learning in school, how to have great ideas at the heart of every project that you do, learning how to work in teams and collaborate, learning all about the kit, so we explain everything from scratch, assuming you've never done it before, and then learning whether you are a graphic designer or an illustrator. And even though you've applied for one course or the other, you can actually change your mind in the first few months of the course. To help make that decision a little bit easier, we give you a series of talks on both options, a series of specialist projects, and one-on-one tutorials if you need them, to help really decide whether you are on exactly the right pathway for you. And a good number of our students actually do change their mind from one pathway to the other, which is a nice little bit of flexibility. Second half of first year is where you really begin to specialise in your pathway. So it's intensive workshops. The graphic designers might go and learn about type and print design, and how to design a typeface, how to design books, printing methods, binding methods. This is first year work done this year with first years designing type posters to promote a typeface. And they went and made these models. They came up with great ideas. Then they went and took professional quality photos of the models, and it's amazing quality work coming out of first year. The illustrators just draw in all sorts of different methods, drawing on walls, drawing big, drawing small. Drawing is a real focus of the illustration course. Sketchbooks are vital, so we really encourage students to just draw in sketchbooks. This is a lovely one done by one of our students when she visited China. Coming on to the second year, level 5, it's a much more professionally focused year. So we have lots of workshops in digital skills. The graphic designers will do motion graphics, web design, interaction projects, UX. The illustrators will do animation, perhaps even games design, touching into things like virtual reality, GIFs. Then there's lots of live projects from real clients, the chance to go and do work experience, an international study trip to places like New York or Berlin or Barcelona, lots of visiting speakers, and it's about becoming an expert in your specific pathway. At the start of second year, the graphic designers can choose to specialise in one of those pathways, so either graphic design, which is a bit more traditional in outlook, perhaps more open briefs, which might be a little bit more experimental or arty, really about communicating things that you're interested in, and then graphic design, advertising and branding, which is a bit more commercially focused, how to solve client briefs, where your career might head into one of those two areas. So in second year, we've worked with these clients in recent years, really big companies, creative directors coming up to visit us to set the briefs, students getting offers of placements as a result of them, or paid work, brilliant opportunities. And the last 3 years, we've worked with an agency called Droga 5. They are the most awarded agency in the world at the moment. That's a photograph of their 3 founders holding 9 D&AD awards, which is incredible achievement last year. And they offer our students placements every year in the summer. They only work with one UK university, and that's us. And there's our students being briefed at their London headquarters last summer. Again, being so close to London means that it's easy to bring up really, really famous people to come and speak to our students. We take great pleasure in that. The halfway point in the course is a really important part, because after this point you can begin to choose your own briefs and really tailor your portfolio into the kind of career that you want. Great flexibility. So coming into the third year, we offer more workshops, so really specialist skills, small groups learning much more kind of detailed technical skills, the chance to do competition briefs, a big self-directed final major project, a degree essay, so there's a strong history and theory element throughout the course which culminates in an essay or equivalent theoretical piece. More high-profile live briefs with big companies, self-promotion, help to get your portfolio looking good, and then portfolio reviews with employers towards the end of the course, a degree show in the university, and then the chance to go to a London show to show off your work to employers there in the summer. So at this point in the course, we might do a project with an agency like Design Studio, who are responsible for the branding of all those companies that you might recognise. And they'll invite our students down into London to show off their work and buy us a load of tasty pizza, for example. Jessica is our visiting professor who works with our third year students. She teaches at Yale University in the US and flies over to come and teach with us once a year. She's an amazingly well-known, brilliant person to be taught by. And she helped us set up a live project with Prada a few years ago, where our students went over to Milan and stayed in a very fancy hotel, and they worked with Jessica's students from Yale University, a university in Milan, and our students all working in mixed groups, working on a project, and then presenting it at Prada's headquarters, which are those bottom 2 pictures. Brilliant projects, amazing opportunities. The illustrators can take on their own commissions in third year. So this commission was taken on by one of our students and was set by Chris Packham, and the work was published. It was all about his manifesto for wildlife, which was published last year. Then that led on to Harry, this student, being commissioned by all sorts of illustrators over the years, and he's now got a regular commission by the Sunday Times magazine, and even though he graduated last year, he's doing incredible work. So it just shows you what is possible as a student and how that leads on to jobs. So all the best work gets exhibited in London shows. It's really lots of employers come to our stand, and we've got a great reputation for producing employable graduates. And it's really important to help keep this relationship going with our graduates. So we meet up with them every year, and we try and invite them to a location, and we also invite our current third year students to go and meet them, swap business cards, advice, tips, show portfolios off, and it's a great evening every year. Our graduates tend to say lovely things about us. There's lots of good feedback about the course and the quality of the teaching, and how much support they got. So thank you very much for listening. I hope that's given you a clear idea about what we have to offer, and there's plenty more information on the website. Or if you've got any questions at all, just please feel free to email me. I can get back to you straight away. Anything at all about the application process or the course, I'll be very happy